He's with us. It's a privilege to be broadcasting live with you again. Let me do the customary sound check. I don't want to be talking for another hour. Don't want to be doing another mistake like I did on the first and second cast, where I did this wonderful monologue, excellently prepared, painstakingly delivered, then realised it wasn't actually casting. Game today, as one or two of you might recognise, is Plague's Tale. I think this is the second one, Innocence. One of the bigger games of the 2020s. I don't intend to play much of it. You can have a little run around if you like.
I'll stand by your side, my king.
6, 7,
Quick.
8, 9,
Don't forget to breathe, my
Oh, I'll
king.
put the headphones on.
I'm coming!
He's coming.
Excellent graphics. Obviously,
The perfidious has laid his eyes on
this
you.
game was renowned for its
Evil. Come on,
peace,
taste his
B-man.
Too easy.
This game was renowned for its
Let's get to a
technical
second
achievement.
chance.
I don't know
We have
what
to more to keep out of sight, my king.
it's one of those
2, 3,
big budget
4,
games which
5,
surprisingly
6,
was free to
7,
play for
8,
most.
9, 10. I'm coming!
He's on his way.
Aha! Who could be lurking over? I found you. You underestimated my powers.
He's too strong. Oh, we
Well,
aren't very good. Oh, let's do it again. Please.
Fine. My black evil heart can still enjoy the thrill of the hunt.
I actually like this game because it's about a couple of orphans that have
Quickly, my king.
that their parents are murdered, but it's as you can see, the graphics are absolutely brilliant. Look at that, each blade of grass, each leaf, each brick. I don't know how long it took them to make this game, but very impressive. Like I said, it was free to play if you was a Xbox or PlayStation subscriber. But that's not what I wanted to talk about.
Lucas the perfidious now
In fact, let me reset this. It's actually quite... what I wanted to talk about, Marcus, or what is his groundworks for the metaphysics of MGTOW. One of the last of the OGs, he came in the tail end. Some of you who followed me will also be followers of Messenger. If you have not already, which I'm sure most of you have, check out the podcast me, Marcus, and Nico Josky did with Messenger. Back in 2016, 2015. Excellent podcast, where two of us argued for the case on condemning how should we put it, the contemporary version of femininity. And the other two argued for the cautionary language when describing the other gender. I'm sure most of you, we're quite tight on this channel. Most of us know each other and know our position when it comes to that area, but it's always worth revisiting. I sometimes watch the old stuff. 2015, 2016 I think was the peak of the manosphere, really. I watch it and I sometimes am amazed about some of the things, not only the manosphere said, but what I said. It's quite interesting to see how much of a change the manosphere and myself has gone through over these past 7 years now, isn't it? Since 2016, I said was the peak. So it's in like 2014. 2024. So that's a good. It's going on to 8 years now. Woo! It's true what they say. The older you get, the more time seems to take its toll on you mentally. Anyway. So yeah. So God bless him. One of our friends sent me Marcus's new video. If you haven't watched it, you can watch it after this. Marcus has been missing for a few years now. Good on him. God bless him. One of our old friends. We don't really have any compulsion on any content creators. It's not as if they owe us anything. I don't think there's any paid subscriptions. I don't think any of us have that. I have seen. I know YouTube has started doing paid subscriptions. So yeah, if you are taking money from your subscribers, and yeah, you probably should do something regular to justify charging people to subscribe to your stuff. But I don't think any of us did. I don't think any of us, certainly none of the OGs have ever done that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Marcus talks about the new generation, Gen Z, you call it. Funnily enough, us British don't talk like this. I thought it was just me, but I've been working at a further education college now for coming on 2 years. Been studying degree for 5 years. We don't use the term Generation X, Generation Z. We don't use boomers. I have heard the term Zoomers being used, but generally the British do not talk like this. If you say Gen Z, Gen X, the general youth who you are referring to as Gen Z and Gen X will not know what you're talking about. So possibly another cultural divide between the Brits and the Americans. Not something to fight over. This is not me trying to set some borders here, but it's just something to note that sometimes when we do talk in certain languages, not everyone's going to understand these terms. Also, I did want to talk about a new content creator that I come across, which MA put me on. I'm trying to remember his name. He calls himself a Black Pillar. But I did want to talk about some of the things he brought up. Let me find out what his name is. His name is Isaiah Black. Possibly one of the better channels I've come across. Not only because he talks about men's issues, but he's actually very honest. From what I can glean off his first few videos that I've come across, he's got that Steve Hoker frankness about him that, let's face it, we all love. We all love it when Steve Hoker admits to his kinkiness and his neurosis. We presume he's telling the truth. I mean, no one would lie about stuff like that. But yeah, Isaiah Black has this Steve Hoker honesty about him. So one thing I wanted to talk to him about, wanted to talk about, which I've noticed amongst that group, is they identify as incels. They identify as being unattractive to women. And I don't think they realise that that's actually not the case. I know Steve Hoker spent a lot of time, they call themselves incels, TFL and stuff like that. It's not something we talked about much in the old in the old days of the manosphere. Certainly not something that our circles talked about. But the TFLers, or the people, or the men, I should say, that identify as incels and TFLers, they've got this distorted view of themselves because, understandably, I understand why and how they've come up with this self-identification due to society, due to being constantly rejection is I don't think it is appropriate, when you feel that you're opening up to people, when you're trying to be social in your own way, and girls and women especially talking down at you, and even sometimes verbally abusing you, quite unjustifiably. It's led them to believe that they're unattractive and ugly, which is not the case. This particular video I was watching when Mr. Black was talking about another YouTuber, I can't remember his name, a gamer, and he said he was talking to him under the context that he'd passed away. I think he'd killed himself with alcohol abuse and self-neglect. And he said that he was ugly. He says he identified it with him because he was ugly too. But he wasn't ugly. These are not ugly people. In our society, we have a idea or an ideal image in the West, in the English-speaking West. We have this portrayal of what the ideal man should look like, what the ideal woman should look like, and it's perpetuated using pop stars, film stars, magazine articles, or web pages that glamorize a certain look. But this is, as those of you that I don't imagine there'll be many of you. Those of you that study business, those of you that study marketing, this is not particularly the case. We sell this idea of beauty because it helps build a brand, it helps sell products, it helps people relate to certain music, to relate to our culture, basically. But psychologists will tell you, genuine marketing executives will tell you that sexual preference is wide and huge. It's not only a statistical, analytical fact, it's also part of human nature. It is actually genius how humans are actually. Despite all the warmongers and evil a-holes we have as our rulers and in charge of our military, the human species is actually an amazing creature. Sexual attraction is diverse. Males and females are attracted to all types, to all kinds. Some men like fat women, some men like thin women, some men don't even mind any women. And believe it or not, women are the same. This is the first time you're going to hear me talk like this. Women are just the same. They like all types. There are women for all types of men. And I promise you, no matter how terrible or ugly you think you look, there's a woman there, or there's women. There are women, there are girls that are going to find you attractive. It is a human species. This is how the human species propagate. But the thing is, physical attraction, as those of you that have studied these papers, there are research, there is genuinely peer-reviewed research on this, but physical attraction only accounts for less than 50% of whether or not somebody will pursue or accept a sexual relationship with that person. What you do, what you say, your character, your actions, many factors contribute to a person's attraction. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of you don't understand your value. Many of you are so down upon yourselves because of your personal situation, because of your personal experiences. You're not giving yourself, as you say in the US, you're not giving yourself a fair shake. In the UK, we say you're not you're not taking the opportunities that are freely available to you. You're not creating the opportunities that you could easily make. It's true, not everyone's going to become a millionaire. Not everyone's going to become, I don't know if it's relevant these days, not everyone's going to become a Casanova, but you can find your position in society. I know you all love the concept of ghosting, and for the most part, we are separated from society. We are, as a self-preservatory process, trying to remove ourselves not only from the plantation but from the matrix. That means involvement with the government, involvement with social conditioning, social engineering, all that stuff we used to talk about. But you are part, until you're living off-grid in the middle of a deserted island, or you've got a nice self-contained yacht with a steady income where you can restock your boat every couple of months and you're sailing the seven seas like good old Sinbad. You're part of society. You are in the matrix. There's no escaping from that. And you have to make the most of it as you can. As I said, that doesn't mean you show all your cards. It doesn't mean you display and you carry your ID card stating your sexual preferences, your race and your religion. This is all part of the matrix we're trying to escape from. I would recommend that none of you put yourself in any category. Don't call yourselves white, don't call yourselves black, don't call yourselves Christian or Muslim or atheists or incel. Don't call yourselves MGTOW, because immediately anybody, this is not to say that you are or you're not, but anyone that hears that automatically has presumptions to that category. Let's talk about ideas, let's talk about beliefs, let's talk about concepts and models. Let's talk about the point, the argument, the issue. Let's not allow them to have preconceived ideas about us even before we've had a chance to speak. And one of them is calling yourself ugly. Like I said, I can't remember who said it. I've heard it many times, but quite often I'll hear, and you must have come across it as well, people will talk about how they've initially found somebody they met as pretentious, being unattractive, being obnoxious and abhorrent. And then when they got to know them, they actually quite like them. And reversely, you must have met somebody or known somebody who initially you thought would be a good company, or somebody that you would enjoy being friends with. And then after a while, when you got to know them more, you realise that they were quite toxic, detrimental. They were quite negative people, not somebody you want to be around. Now, this is not because they changed their appearance. This is not because they suddenly became physically attractive and then unattractive. No, this is because you saw the character. You listened to some of their some of the things that they said that might have indicated their beliefs, that might have pointed out some of their positions on issues that you've got an opinion on. Do you see? My point is, attraction is not always in the face, as Steve Hoker always sold his group on. Believe me, it's not. Don't worry if people misconstrue your identity just based upon how you look. Don't worry about that. This is their problem. They're going around making, as we say, prejudgments, baseless, superficial generalizations about you just because of how you look. This is actually quite a bad personality trait to have. That is a bad personality trait on their behalf. That's not your problem. What is your problem is your own personality, your own character. And you see, all this is annulled if you automatically assign yourself the identity of being ugly. If you automatically assign yourself as being a certain race, as being, and unfortunately, because of the taboo and the general propaganda around religion, and all the terrible mismanaged debates that some religious narrators had. This is why people have all these misconceptions. So, again, this is why I don't put myself in any, well, I try not to. I know if you're applying for certain accounts and jobs and stuff, they ask you to put yourself down in some category. But we're not part of the Matrix, are we, gentlemen? We don't play that game unless we have to. As I said, we only do this because we are unfortunately part of the Matrix until, and those of us that are able to, remove ourselves from it. So until we do, we play their game. We don't show all our cards, and we don't give them cause to put us in an unjustifiable box. So that's what I wanted to talk about, Mr. Black. But his other stuff is really good. He does remind me of excuse me.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Yeah, peace reviving you news. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, he does remind me of I can't remember the guy. I always forget the guy's name. Steve Hoker's disciple. But yeah, a genuine intention of telling the truth. It is a really good way of cutting to the chase rather than dancing around subtleties and subterfuge before you actually find out what's going on. But that's Mr. Black. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's actually got a bigger channel than me. I think he's got 500 subscribers, but that's not the point. I think that video that I'm talking about got like 20,000 views. Yeah, he's IS Black. I do like the guy. But yeah, Marcus's channel. Marcus comes across as a super intelligent psychologist.
Finally get an internet brother. RRN, good day.
Good on you. Let me take this white screen off. I actually hate white screens because of the... I'm photosensitive anyway.
Oh no!
Let me get rid of this. I should really try and put on a... That's why I had that other game before. It was a neutral screen. But yeah, so Marcus, he came up with how the Oh, if you haven't played this game, it's really good. It's set in the medieval times in France, when some of you will know there was a plague, which they eventually discovered was spread by rights.
Hope all is well.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you reviving Real News. I've been looking out for any of your new stuff. You haven't posted anything in since October, I think. I think Messenger put me onto your channel. But yeah, look at this. Fantastic graphics. 60 frames per second. 2,200 pixels
He's right behind me, Super.
vertically.
He's trying to catch us.
But they've got like pixel shading and
He's too fast. We'll make it.
I forgot that technique. They've got this technique of but anyway, so
Bloody brambles.
so Marcus says that Generation Z
I
needs
wonder where we are.
It's been a long road. You have the right to
our
stretch your legs.
Yes.
Generation Z needs our help. They need guidance. They need mentorship, and us being the men of the previous generation,
Alicia!
it's our. He didn't use the word duty, but it sort of seemed implied. We've got a obligation is even stronger. We have an opportunity, should we say, to offer Gen Z our guidance. But the main point he made, which I did put to Messenger and MA, is that the old talking points of MGTOW and the Mansphere are no longer relevant to Gen Z. Gen Z now are suffering from a new wave of self-destructive issues of societal decay. And correct me if I'm wrong, Marcus, but I think he said that Gen Z now suffer from the lack of relationships. More specifically, the lack of never having a sexual relationship. Because the old guard, most of us were, fathers. We all had a certain level of sexual experience before that, and that's the environment we came out of. And now that's all irrelevant to Gen Z, because Gen Z doesn't have that. So now Gen Z needs a new set of solutions to address the problems of lack of sexual relationships, which I think is a problem there. Because the problem in the first place was the dysfunctionality of male-female relationships, the destructive, detrimental and damaging environment, not only of the legal framework and culture, society, but because of the encouragement of female entitlement, all that stuff we should talk about. So if you're now going to say, well, actually, Gen Z actually needs this, which it sounds like he's implying, then you're going to go back to the original problems. I don't think Gen Z need to address the problem of sexual relationships at all. As far as I know, from what I know of 16 to 20-year-olds, the more celibacy they have, the better they do. I would actually put them on to what we talk about in our circles. I wouldn't encourage them or try and mentor them on how to have better sexual relationships at all. I think the way forward is absolutely trying to channel their energies, which they are trying to do, and good on them. I think they are a more advanced generation than ours. We were sold that lie, that BS of a happy wife, happy life. Gen Z, they know it's a lie. those that were privileged to know who their biological father were witness to how destructive it was to him, to his, to all parts of his welfare and health. So, if the young men decide they're not going to have relationships with girls anymore, then obviously, as he rightly puts, the young women have even fewer options. So, yeah, I think Marcus has missed the point there, Marcus. Let's have a chit-chat, if that's not the case, if I've misunderstood or misinterpreted your argument. Then, let me go on to talk about his point on how men, meaning us, meaning me and you, and specifically he mentioned the manosphere. That means me and you, because we're a part of the manosphere. We're on YouTube. In fact, we're some of the OGs of the manosphere. Probably the only people more OG than us is Man, Woman, Myth, and Barbarossa. Marcus points out that we have at least some obligation. Let's just say it that way. I think it would be fair to say we have some obligation, and to a certain extent, I agree with you, Marcus. We have some obligation to advise, to coach, to educate Gen Z. I do agree with you on that. You're not going to find an argument with me on that one, but I do not think, I would not go as far as to say that it's our responsibility. Because as ex-fathers, those that did fight in a divorce, in the unjust family courts, those that did lose our time, our chance to be fathers, due to a lying, abusive female and a lying and abusive police culture and a lying and abusive and unjust family court. We did everything we could to be mentors, coaches, tutors to the children. And some of us died because of it. Some of us literally killed ourselves because we were unable to do that. So to implement, and I know he didn't use the words. I'm not trying to pin it on you, Marcus, but I do understand. I'm just talking about his point of view. To put the onus, to put the neglect upon the men, it is a further injustice on the men. Men did everything they could to be part of this generation's upbringing. The natural inclination of a man to father his children, and believe it or not, any children that he's responsible for. And I'll say this outright. I said this years ago, I'll say it again. Most men are good. Most men have inclination to a good nature. It's only the corruption, the decay, the blighted society that demonizes everything about men. The type of throw the baby out with the bathwater mentality towards masculinity. The all men are potential rapists culture. The remove the men first and then we'll ask questions in the morning. That type of society has completely nullified any remnants of male input in modern society. So now to say that we're now responsible for the education of Gen Z, or even any generation since the 70s, is a further injustice on men. So that leaves the point of, yeah, well, there are plenty of There are plenty of voices in the manosphere. There are certain channels claiming to be MGTOW, claiming to be part of the manosphere, that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So I would assert to this point, are these the type of men you want bringing up your children? Think about that. Think about these men claiming to be part of MGTOW, these men claiming to be part of the manosphere, that have hundreds and thousands of subscribers, that are talking about a coming war between the races, that are talking about a complete annihilation of entire countries of men, women and children. Are these the type of men you want mentoring, coaching, educating Gen Z? Do you see the problem now? Do you see the issue I have with the points in this video? I mean, I would describe it as a self-fulfilling prophecy. The fact that those men that didn't move away, those men that did not have the benefits of the manosphere, that didn't have the protection, the mental tools, the internal skills to detach themselves from the social engineering and the destructive plantational matrix. Those men that stuck around, they became a self-fulfilling prophecy. People called them monsters, so they became monsters. People called them criminals, called them predators, called them, racists, far right. So they became racists, far right, and predators. So they diverted their energy from self-betterment, from self-improvement, to all these negative, damaging, destructive directions. And unfortunately, by the time they came into the manosphere, they talked such a destructive narrative that it caught the attention of thousands of others that didn't want to walk that difficult path of self-improvement, that didn't want to take that self-control into managing their own internal struggles. This, unfortunately, was the majority. We weren't going to save, and we never said we were going to save mankind. We never said we were going to save society. We just told people what was going on. We told the world our perspective, and most of the people that listened to us agreed, the men and the women. But there's always going to be that side of society that is, we are socially engineered to have more compassion and sympathy for women. If there's a homeless man and a homeless woman, that homeless woman is going to be helped 100% of the time. And I don't need to make the argument that women normally, for most part, get preference, despite what the wage gap BS and the it's a man's world rubbish, not nonsense. So anyway, that is my little monologue. It's not an attack on our brother Marcus. It was just some of the issues which I thought were worth pointing out. And in all fairness, have you ever heard me make any type of response except to somebody who I respect? See, I don't even watch the other YouTubers, but if a certain brother has released a worthwhile video that I think is worth speaking about, this is the only time I'll do a response video. But yeah, something I did mention to MA and Messenger was there's a certain I don't know where it comes from. I would assert it comes from the atheist community. There's a certain culture of playing devil's advocate. You must have noticed it. You know, it brought us Thunderfoot, brought us Hussein Yi, brought us Ahmed Skeptic. There's this, particularly among social media, particularly amongst YouTube, there's this culture of playing devil's advocate, which, you know, to have real freedom of speech, to have real democracy and justice, both sides must be reconciled. Both sides must have their day in court, as the saying goes. But if all you do is play devil's advocate, guess what? You've become the devil. You're no longer the devil's advocate. You are now playing the devil's position. And unfortunately, I think a lot of well-meaning content creators have fallen into this trap. You're no longer taking a stance. You're no longer taking a position. You no longer have principles and values which you've structured and genuinely believe in. You just now want to be edgy. You just now want to provoke a sensation. You know, when you always play devil's advocate, you are the devil. You know, you're no longer trying to be just. If every time somebody makes a point and then all you ever do is be that contrarian, that's not freedom of speech, is it? So, I don't know. Hopefully you guys will find some benefit in what I've said, but I thought it would be nice, you know, just to have a little bit of a change in our changing our little format. So yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did say. He said that the harms of never having a girlfriend is more destructive than divorce courts and gynocentrism and all the point, which I totally disagree with. On all the points I've just said, for all the reasons I've just pointed out, I think that's a disastrous position to take. That will be winding back everything we ever tried to accomplish in the manosphere over the past, coming on now, what is it, 15 years? In fairness, in the true spirit of academia, I do agree with him on the point that girls, because this point has been made that all girls need to do to counter this issue of not having any good options when it comes to choosing men or boys, for Gen Z, that is. There's an argument which says, well, all they need to do is to settle for the boys that are interested in them. And he said that is biologically impossible, because women, girls, this is his words, biologically incapable of settling. Now, I would not use the word biological. I would say sexual preferences are psychological. This is a psychological hurdle that they can't get over. Sexual preferences is psychological. Sexual reproduction is biological. There is no biological reason they cannot produce a baby or offspring with boys that have lower incomes, that are less physically appealing. There's no biological reason. And I say this because that is the word he used. If he had said psychologically, then yeah, absolutely, that would have been 100% on board with him. But he is incorrect to say that women are biologically incapable of dating down. That is not true. Women are psychologically incapable of dating down. They are biologically equipped to date down. So, those of you that are purists like me, do accept my apology for talking about sexual preferences and stuff like that, but it was necessary to engage in this fun banter on making a nice complimentary video to our brother Marcus Groundworks for the metaphysics of Migdors. Oh yes, it's got to be known. I do understand that psychology and biology are linked. Your psychology does affect your biology, and your biology does affect your psychology. But I think we're all grown up enough to understand the difference between what you think and what your body is physically like. I don't think I need to go into that, do I? So, you'll excuse me now. I'm going to make a nice cup of tea. For those of you who are interested, I'm on to black Yorkshire tea. I did switch from honey to vanilla syrup. I found out, alhamdulillah, I am able to have a little bit of milk now. After not having any dairy products for nearly 2-3 years, a little bit of milk, a little bit of whipped cream on some Black Forest ghetto, I seem to be able to get away with. But I am approaching my 50s, which I know I've been telling you guys for the past 5 years. I am generally approaching my 50s now. And it is true, you have to watch your diet. Do follow my previous advice. If you are in the same position as me, fasting is a wonderful practice. Do some fasting. Do a 12-hour, 24-hour if you're able. How are you doing, Freeman? I hope you're still keeping it up. But personally, I think it has helped me to regain some of my favourite foods. You do hanker for a bit of whipped cream and a bit of full-fat milk in your tea. So I now only drink coffee during work days, which I'm trying to reduce. I'm not a workaholic. God bless you guys that are able to work 50, 60. I heard even one guy claim he did a 70-hour week once. God bless you guys, man. I hope you get paid double, triple for those hours, but I'm not a workaholic. I get easily expended. I'll put all my preparation. I'll spend days and weeks preparing for 1, 2, 3 hours, and then once I've delivered that 3-4 hour bit of work, I am done for the week. I'm out of it, and unfortunately, we're not in that kind of a society that permits that. But what can I do? Offer some subpar, substandard work after I'm exhausted? No. Let us be remembered for the excellence. Let us be remembered for the excellent part of ourselves. Let time show and tell that we offered some of the best pieces of art. We offered some of the best literature. We conducted some of the best discussions. Let it be known, because we only showed the best part of ourselves. Okay, join me for next time, gentlemen. Thank you for being patient. Very quiet in the chat today. Very quiet. Yeah, take care. D-Man, Reviving Real News. I'll be looking out for your content. But yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully I'll see you guys again soon. If you do like these discussions and talks, do let me know. So I know I'm on the right track. Like every human being that has a relational interaction with people, feedback is valued. So if you think it's rubbish, tell me it's rubbish. I'm grown up enough to take criticism. I'm supposed to, not only professionally but personally, I'm supposed to
It
be
was a
able to take
pleasure
criticism.
and thank you.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Thank you for joining me. Do check out Marcus's latest video, Groundworks for the Metaphysics of Migdors, and that other guy, which I keep on calling Mr. Black. I'll try and link his stuff, but if I forget, his name's Isaias Black. Yeah, man. If you're a fan of Steve Hawker, you'll like this guy. So until next time, guys, peace.